Hi and welcome to this week's project. This week's project is slightly a little bit different, no casting today. If those that watch Instagram, you'll realise that maybe there's an up and coming project that's going to involve using some leather. Now, leather work I have not done before, so I've just managed to get all the stuff together that I need. I've still got a couple of bits on its way out. But I didn't want to outspend any more money than I'd already spent, because I spent quite a bit of money for the next project. So I need a sew horse, I think it's what you call a leather sewing horse, to finish these couple of leather projects and for some other stuff that I've got planned. So this is really thin on the line budget. I'm using all the stuff that I've already got really. So I'm using an old shelf that I had in the house. It's just a cheap pine shelf actually. I'm hoping this will do. So yeah, I think it's something like about 36 inches long and maybe about 8 or 9 inches wide. So I'm just going to use that. I've got a bit of, I don't even know what this wood is, but it's a bit of hardwood that I've got sitting around that I'll need. Got a bit of threaded rod, which will obviously I'll need to cut to size. I've got some screws, just normal wood screws, a bit of wood glue, just normal cheap wood glue, a selection of washers, just what I could find. I'm hoping these will do. And I didn't have any of the wing nuts or anything of this size, so I've managed to find these. I don't even know what they're called. I know that they came off a unit that I took apart, and well, I just tend to keep anything that I get. So I'll show you a little bit more, but this actually fits onto this rod, so these will be what I'll be using today. I don't have even any nuts for this, so I'm just using what I've got. Probably not the best products for there. Got a little hinge which I'll need, some drill bits, pencil, bit of felt, ruler, and I say won't fall because they're magnets, and some magnets which I'm going to be using as well. Now this project is not invented by me. There's hundreds of people that have done these projects out there. I've been away over the last few days, watched lots of people's videos, and basically I've took all the bits that I like from each project and put it into one project basically, because there's several different styles out there. Some of them look absolutely stunning. This is just going to be functional. It's not going to be about the look. Hopefully it'll look quite decent enough and it'll do what I need it to do. That's the main thing. So not going to mess about anymore. We're going to get straight on to the next bit. It's going to be very much showing you what I'm doing in shots, this one. So anyway, hope you enjoy this project. Okay, so I've marked the board out here already. So I need 2 arms. These are 16 inches long. Don't have a long enough thing, but they're 16 inches long, both of them, by 3.5. The base is 18 inches long by 3.5. I've got a spacer here for the bottom of the arms. I'm going to go away, cut these out on the bandsaw, and then we'll come back. After cutting on the bandsaw, I just went over all the edges, rounded them off and smoothed them down a little bit. I'm doing a voiceover here. If you hear meowing, it's Lily in the background. And the final bit that I just did with the sanding, I just did with a palm sander. I've got a lighter grit on here. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's 120 grit. And that was enough. It's that's as far down. The grits of sanding I went. Okay, on this bit now, I am just I've done all the sanding and everything and finishing, so I'm just taking the left hand side arm. I took the left hand side one because I'm right handed, and I glued the spacer on the bottom of this. This is just everyday wood glue. It's no special brand. I actually got this given to me at Maker Central. So yeah, and it actually works. I've used it on a few bits now and it works really well. So yeah, I just glued this onto the bottom and held it on with just a couple of clamps until it was dry. While I was waiting for the spacer glue to dry, I actually cut this small strip of wood into 2 sets of 3.5 inch slices. These are going to be placed on top of the arms. This will be the part that actually grips hold of the leather. Yeah, as you can see here, that's them cut. Ready, I'll go and sand them now. The next part now is just to glue them onto the top of each of the arms. Once again, just a bit of wood glue and stuck them on top. Okay, and lastly I cut the tops at 45 degrees. Wasn't the safest way to do it but this was how I did it. And then I basically just went over the edges again with the palm sander, and that was just a quick 2-minute job and it was done. Okay, next bit was to mark the holes ready to put the main pin through that's going to pull them together. I did this 10 inches up from the top, and then I put magnets in and I did those. I just did a little recess 12 inches from the bottom of the arms. Now working on the base, this is 2 holes down the centre, which the spacer will actually be screwed onto this bit here. And I basically didn't have anything to countersink the screws, so I just used a 1/4 mil Forstner bit. And I just did a recess in it, and actually it worked really well. Okay, now I was just putting some glue on the bottom of the arm, getting ready to attach this onto the base. Used a clamp just to hold it steady, ready for me getting screws in, which was actually a really simple process. Went incredibly well for me. I'm ready now to move on to the next stage of getting the other arm up and the hinge in place. I'm just marking out. I left a little bit of a gap, so it had a bit of a gap to move in to make sure that the arms went together at the top well. I was just marking it with this little pin now, and I then screw them in place. I put the ruler in behind that block just to give that few millimetres of space just before I screwed it in. It actually worked very well. Now that's that bit done. Time to measure the threaded rod. I then cut it to the size I required after this. Now I've got the threaded rod. These bolts are like oblong that's on the end, so I needed to use a Forstner bit just to put a recess in for it to sit in, and also I was going to glue it so that it doesn't move when I attempt to tighten it up. So it just took a few minutes, and then I managed to get it to fit in, so it's half slotted into that slot. Now I'm using 2-part epoxy to put inside the slot that's on the threaded bar. So that's this bit here, just putting that in. Push into the slot. Now I'm just adding the epoxy in to add the magnets in. Now I'm making a handle to tighten up the arm. So I just drew a circle. This is quite a thick bit of oak flooring. So I drew a circle and I just divided it into 4 really. It was just a rough guess here at this point. And on each of the points I did a half circle. So these would be cut out as well. Lily, you can't go up there. Yeah, so I then cut this out in the bandsaw, and it sort of, I don't know, just looks more like a knob. Drilling the hole through the centre for the bolt. And then just enlarging the slot to fit the bolt in on this. I've put it in about 3/4 on this, and so we'll put a cover on top of it to cover that half of the bolt, so that there's no way that it can just fall out of that hole on there. That's me just cutting out the handle on the bandsaw. It was very easy to do. Just took a couple of minutes. It's all the sanding now that takes a while. Spent quite a bit getting the shape on this and making sure that it would be comfortable in the hand, taking off all the sharp edges. I did this with all different sanders. This is just the one that I finished it off with. Well, as you can see, Lily came to join me in the shed, and the lady wasn't for moving. Even though I was right in the middle of trying to get some stuff done, she just wasn't moving out the way at all. Sat firm. I had to just carry on working around her. I knew she'd get fed up with the noise and go. So this was me. As you can see on the arm facing us is the bolt that's half hanging out of that bit. It is actually glued in. So I needed to make a cover for that and had to make a slot to go over the top of it. I didn't want anywhere that stuff would catch on really. If there was anything on it, I wanted it to have all smooth edges on it. So this is me now doing the cover for the bolt, just putting the slot in there for the main handle. And actually I was really pleased with how all of these came out. It fitted on the top lovely, and it just needed shaping after this point. And I did all that with the Dremel. Now finishing off, I just glued this bit on here, held it in with a clamp, and then Lily came back to see me. I then used 2 coats of sand sealer, coated it all over. Sanded it with a 400 pad in between coats. And then I just used a lacquer to finish it. I covered all the bolts and everything with a bit of masking tape and then just sprayed over everywhere else. And the last thing that I had to do was where the dark brown pieces of wood are, I put a bit of felt on those areas, and that was me done. Okay, that's it all done. It twizzles. I put a couple of washers just in at the side of there so it's got something, but it tightens up no bother. It's nice and loose, and it'll open up quite wide for placing material in. So all the little hinges are covered so that they can't pull out or get stuck or anything, or the little bolts. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this project. It was something that I made just because I was needing it. Got the little magnets on the side, and that's basically for, as I say, I've not done this before, but when you need to pull the threads, you could put your needles onto either side there and then pull your threads and then pick your needles back up and go again. So hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for watching.